right? So the slides are visible, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. So what we have done so far, so we have studied about the nephron structure, right? So nephron was the basic unit of the kidney, right? Nephron is a cell, nephron is a kidney cell, right? So basic, it is a basic unit, right? So what we have discussed three important things what is happening when the urine is formed, right? The first one was the glomerulus filtration, right? Then there was the reabsorption, and finally there was the secretion, right? So this was the thing, these were the three principles that are utilized in the formation of urine, right? So what we have discussed so far, we have discussed about the carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, right? What the carbonic anhydrase is doing, it is combining with the carbon dioxide, right? The water is combining with the carbon dioxide, basically it is facilitating the combination of water and the carbon dioxide to form the carbonic acid, right? And when there is a formation of the carbonic acid, water will not be able to expelled out from the kidneys or from the urine as a urine, right? So this was the thing. Then what we have discussed about the thiazides, right? So now today we are going to discuss about the loop diuretics, potassium sparing diuretics, and I will be also discussing some of the osmotic diuretics, right? So this we have discussed, this we have discussed, right? So I'll be directly going to the loop diuretics today, right? So basically what I have said in the first class only, basically when we are using the diuretics, right? So what they will do, they will inhibit the reabsorption of water, sodium and chloride. Two electrolytes were more important, right? Sodium and the chloride, which we are taking from the salt, right? So what the diuretics are doing, they are inhibiting the reabsorption of water and sodium and the chloride, right? So when they are inhibiting that thing, the reabsorption of water or the sodium or chloride, what they are doing, they are facilitating a forced diuresis or urination, right? Thereby decreasing the, thereby decreasing what, thereby decreasing the edema or the hypertension, right? This thing we have done with, right? So now today I am going to discuss about the loop diuretics, right? So now, as the name suggests, right? So these loop diuretics will be working at where? So basically they will be working in the ascending loop of Henle at this site, right? This is the loop of Henle and this is the descending, this is the ascending, right? So they will be working somewhere here, right? So what these will be doing, these will be facilitating their sodium, these will be facilitating the sodium pass through the urine, or in the short they will be inhibiting the, they will be inhibiting what, they will be inhibiting the reabsorption of sodium. And when they will be inhibiting the reabsorption of sodium, what will happen, they will facilitate the passage of the urine along with the electrolytes, right? So now basically this is the lumen, right? This is the urine, right? So what they are doing, see, in the earlier when we are talking about the thiazide diuretics, in the thiazide diuretic there was a single valent loss, means the sodium were getting lost, right, through the urine. But here there is some problem with the loop diuretics, with using the loop diuretics. Actually what it do, it also allows the discharge of calcium, magnesium and the potassium, right, which are very important ions for our body. But what happens, because of this, using this loop diuretic, this calcium, magnesium and the potassium are also lost from the body. So how they are lost, so we'll be discussing this thing. See, basically this is your urine, right? So this is your urine and this is the blood, right? So this is your lumen, ascending lumen, right? So what these loop diuretics are doing, they are inhibiting this transporter, symporter, or we can say trivalent symporter, sodium, potassium and the chloride pump, right? What they are doing, they are inhibiting this pump. And when they are inhibiting this pump, what is happening, this sodium is not able to absorb into the blood, right? This sodium is not able to absorb where, absorb back to the blood. And when it is not able to absorb back to the blood, what will happen, the diuresis process will increase. But now there is one problem, right? So physically I was going to the theory, then I'll be coming back to the diagram, right? So basically the loop diuretic produce a more potent diuresis, right? What they are doing, they are promoting the more potent diuresis and less vasodilation, right? So they are actually giving you the less dilation, hence these molecules or these drugs will be used primarily for the treatment of the edema or some renal failure, right? They will be not primarily used for the treatment of the hypertension or the high blood pressure, although they are used, but they are not used significantly for this purpose. Either they are used in the combination or but they are not used alone for the treatment of the hypertension or the high BP, right? So since these molecules are only causing what? These molecules are only causing the potent diuresis. They are showing no or less effect on the vasodilation, right? What we require for that thing, for doing that low BP low, we require this vasodilation, right? But these diuretics, the loop diuretics, are only causing the potent diuresis and less vasodilation. So what will happen? If there will less vasodilation, they will be rarely affecting the blood pressure or the hypertension, right? So hence these drugs will be primarily used for the treatment of the edema, right? The swelling of the kidneys because of the filled water, or for the treatment of the kidney failure or kidney malfunctioning, right? So basically, therefore, they are less effective in lowering blood pressure than the thiazide diuretic. So this is the common thing. So already I have told this thing. So basically, these are again used again. They are basically operated in this side. That is the ascending limb. That is this is the ascending limb, and this wall is called the limb loop of Henle. So this is descending loop, and this is the ascending loop. So basically, they will be acting on the ascending loop of Henle, right? So this is the thing. And in your syllabus, we basically have three drugs: furosemide, butanide, and ethacrynic acid, right? We have three drugs in your syllabus, right? So now what these loop diuretics are doing? See, these loop diuretics are inducing their effect by competing with what? By competing with chloride to bind to the sodium, potassium, and the chloride pump, which is also called NKCC2 pump. CC2 means two chloro groups are there, right? So if you look at the figure, see, two chloro are passing. So NaKCC, this is the name of the pump. This is coming from here, right? So where? Huh. So basically it is doing what? It is competing with the chloride to bind to the sodium potassium 2 chloride pump. So when it will not allow the chloride to bind to the pump, what will happen? The sodium along will could not go inside to the blood via this co-transporter. अब होगा क्या? अब अगर क्लोराइड आयन नहीं है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल सी, when we talk about the pump, we either require the exchange of ion or we require the symporting of the ions. Symporting means in the same direction and co-transporters means one will be coming out and one will be going out. ठीक है, ये सबको पता है, एंटीपोर्टर भी बोलते हैं इसको, right? So now we are actually talking about the symporter pump which is facilitating the transport of three ions. क्या क्या है उसमें? One is the sodium, one is the their potassium, and two are the chloride ions. So if a drug is inhibiting the binding of chloride to the chloride pump or to this NKCC2 pump, so what will happen? It will disrupt this. It will disrupt the ion concentration of sodium and potassium as well, right? So basically, if one of the loop, for example, we can say the sodium, potassium, and the chloride, if any one of these ion malfunctions, basically, if any one of these ions is not able to cross the pump, what will how it will affect? It will affect by this. It will affect the blocking of the sodium as well as of the potassium. So sodium and the potassium will remain in the urine and they will be not be able to reabsorb to the blood or to the lumen, right? यही होगा ना, अगर हमारा क्लोराइड चैनल ब्लॉक हो गया, बेसिकली अगर क्लोराइड आयन का ट्रांसपोर्ट हमारा ब्लॉक हो गया तो क्या होगा? सोडियम एंड पोटेशियम का भी हमारा आयन को ट्रांसपोर्टेशन नहीं होगा, एंड अगर ये को ट्रांसपोर्टेशन नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा? दिस सोडियम एंड द क्लोराइड विल रिमेन इनटू द यूरिन, दे विल नॉट गेट रीएब्सॉर्ब टू द ब्लड. होगा? अगर रीएब्सॉर्प्शन नहीं होगा, सोडियम क्लोराइड यूरिन में रहेगा तो क्या होगा? there will be a diuresis condition, right? Urine will be thrown out or will be expelled out, right? So this is the thing. So now the loop diuretic induces their effect by competing with the chloride to bind to the NKCC2 co-transporter at the apical membrane of the thick limbic ascending limb of the loop of Henle and blocks the co-transporter, which inhibits the reabsorption of sodium and chloride, right? So what they are doing, they are inhibiting the reabsorption of sodium and the chloride. So by inhibiting the sodium chloride reabsorption, अब क्या होगा, अगर सोडियम क्लोराइड का रीअब्जॉर्प्शन नहीं होगा तो टोनिसिटी डिक्रीज होगी, राइट? एंड आई गेस you are aware of the word tonicity. So can anybody tell what is this tonicity? Osmosis, किसी को पता है? What is osmosis? Anyone? Guys, anyone? What is osmosis? Movement of solvent from where to where?
So lower concentration to higher concentration.
उससे क्या होगा? लोअर कंसेंट्रेशन से अगर हायर कंसेंट्रेशन मूव करेगा तो क्या होगा? What will happen?
सर ऑस्मोसिस में सेमी परमेबल मेम्ब्रेन में मॉलिक्यूल जाते हैं और कंसंट्रेशन में डिसॉल्व हो जाते हैं।
मेम्ब्रेन तो मेम्ब्रेन है, दैट इज द मेम्ब्रेन। तो होगा क्या
सर? डिसोल्यूशन हो जाएगा उसका सर।
तो क्या, अब देखो ना, अब देखो क्या होगा बेसिकली, अगर टोनिसिटी डिक्रीज करेगी, अगर सपोज दिस इज द पंप, दिस इज द पंप, so what if I am doing, I am blocking this channel, this importer channel by using what, by using the loop diuretic। अब loop diuretic से क्या होगा, यूरिन में हमारी क्या होगी, कंसंट्रेशन क्या होगी, बढ़ेगी, आयंस की कंसंट्रेशन बढ़ेगी। तो अगर यहाँ पे आयंस की कंसंट्रेशन बढ़ेगी तो क्या होगा, ऑस्मोसिस में क्या होगा, the ions from the blood or the solvent from the blood will move from the lower concentration. See, the blood will be now in the lower concentration, it will be having the lower concentration of the ion, होगा, blood में lower concentration होगी ना, right? So blood में lower concentration होगी and this will act as semi permeable membrane। तो क्या होगा, all the fluid and the electrolytes including the sodium and chloride will be thrown to the urine or to the collecting duct and it will be coming out in the form of urine। So basically loop diuretics are doing this thing. Loop diuretics are doing what? Loop diuretics are basically blocking the binding of the chloride to the NKCC2 pump, right? And when they are blocking the NKCC2 pump, what they are doing, they are decreasing the tonicity, right? So if the tonicity will be decreased, so the forced diuresis will be there, right? That will be not be reabsorbed back। but अब इनके साथ क्या होता है, एक प्रॉब्लम होती है। प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है, basically along with the sodium and chloride, see this potassium is also lost, and once the potassium is not able to come from the blood, see basically the sodium will not go, if अगर ये सोडियम यहाँ नहीं मूव करेगा तो पोटेशियम ब्लड से क्या होगा, वापस नहीं आ पाएगा ल्यूमन में, राइट? सो बिकॉज अगर ये पंप ब्लॉक होगा, दिस पंप विल आल्सो गेट ब्लॉक्ड, राइट? सो नाउ अब क्या होगा, इफ दिस पोटेशियम विल बी नॉट देयर, अगर ये पोटेशियम नहीं होगा तो what it will do, it will not allow the absorption or the reabsorption of calcium and magnesium back to the blood। ये रीएब्जॉर्प्शन भी नहीं होगा, और अगर ये रीएब्जॉर्प्शन नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा, देयर विल बी द लॉस ऑफ कैल्शियम, मैग्नीशियम एंड द पोटेशियम विच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आयन फॉर अस, राइट? सो ये एक मेजर प्रॉब्लम है। दे विल बी ऑल्सो एक्सक्रीटिंग आउट द कैल्शियम, मैग्नीशियम एंड द potassium, which are one of the important ions for our body, right? So this is the problem। so how to resolve that thing, yahan tak clear hai, right? So basically now the blocking of NKCC2 co-transporter makes potassium unable to be reabsorbed back to the lumen। but हम क्या चाहते हैं, पोटेशियम हमारी बॉडी में, ब्लड में वापस आए। पोटेशियम का रोल क्या है, किसी को पता है हमारी बॉडी में? एनीवन? The role of potassium in our body, why we say that we require the potassium in the body? Anyone? Any idea about that thing? हार्ट में काम होता है, आता है पोटेशियम, क्या काम आता है? अरिथमिया सुना है किसी ने? अरिथमिया?
यस सर।
क्या होता है अरिथमिया? क्या होता है
सर बेसिकली डिस्टर्बेंस ऑफ रिदम।
डिस्टर्बेंस ऑफ रिदम और डिस्टर्बेंस ऑफ हार्ट बीट, राइट? सो बेसिकली वो कब होती है? जब हमारी बॉडी में बहुत ज्यादा पोटेशियम होता है, राइट? बट अगर सपोज सोचो कि हमारी बॉडी से पोटेशियम एक्सक्रीट आउट हो गया, तो हमारा हार्ट बीट में क्या प्रॉब्लम आएगा? आवर हार्ट विल बीट वेरी स्लोली, राइट? देयर विल बी द कंडीशन ऑफ द बेडिकार्डिया, होगा ना? बेडिकार्डिया, बेडिकार्डिया इज अ स्लो बीटिंग ऑफ द हार्ट, टैकीकार्डिया इज अ फास्ट बीटिंग ऑफ द हार्ट, राइट? सो अब बेडिकार्डिया वाली कंडीशंस होंगी, तो बेडिकार्डिया वाली कंडीशन को प्रिवेंट करने के लिए ये डायूरेटिक्स को हमेशा पोटेशियम स्पेयरिंग डायूरेटिक्स के साथ देते हैं, या हम कोई पोटेशियम सॉल्यूशन हम बाहर से बॉडी को रिप्लेनिश करते हैं व्हेन वी आर यूजिंग दीज diuretics, because what we do not want the excretion of potassium, and which is further leading to the excretion of the calcium and the magnesium from our body in the form of urine, right? So this is the major problem of these things, and this question can be asked in the GPAT exam, right? What is the problem of with the loop diuretics? So loop diuretics are doing what? Loop diuretics are facilitating the excretion of potassium along with the calcium and magnesium, right? Which can cause some problems of the heart, for example the bradycardia, right? So now this blocking of NKCC2 co-transporter makes potassium unable to be reabsorbed back, right, to the lumen, which result in the loss of the calcium and the magnesium ion, right? So if you look at this diagram again, so what is happening? The loop diuretics are competing with this 2-chloride, and they are blocking this pump, right? So basically they are blocking this pump, and when they are blocking this pump, this sodium, potassium and the chloride will retain in the urine only. This is urine basically, right? They will be not absorbed to the blood, right? So ho kya raha hai usse? So basically the potassium, calcium and the magnesium are excreted out from the urine, right? So now we have 3 drugs in your syllabus. So firstly is the furosemide. These drugs are not now used for the treatment of the hypertension, although the loop diuretics are rarely used for the treatment of the hypertension. They are used for the treatment of the edema when the heart is in the normal state, right? So this is the point to remember, right? So now there is a drug furosemide in your syllabus. So furosemide, see, amide is a loop diuretic used to treat the hypertension and the edema in congestive heart failure. Importantly, it is used to treat the this edema, right? So now this is the structure of the drug, right? So now if you look at the category of these drugs, what we have a benzene ring and we have a sulfonamide. So it is a sulfonamide, NHS double bond O, SO2, or we can say SO2. So basically this is a sulfonamide moiety, and this is a benzene, and this is NH. So this is the amino benzene sulfonamide. This is the NH, and we are substituting the NH with the furan, right? So basically this is an amine benzene sulfonamide, right? So now the metabolism, the important part in this drug is the metabolism. The metabolism of furosemide occur mainly in the kidney and the liver to the smaller extent, right? So now when the furosemide is taken, it get metabolized to some active constituents, right? This drug as such is not active, right? This drug as such is not active, but it undergoes the metabolism and get converted to the active species, which actually act as an diuretic, right? Now, so 2 major metabolites are formed. So this type of questions are always done in the GPAT exam, right? So अब 2 major metabolites कौन से बनते हैं? One is the furosemide glucuronide. So basically कब बनेगा this molecule? This will be formed during the phase 2 reaction of the metabolism, right? We have कहते हैं ना glucuronide conjugation in phase 2. So basically the first metabolite will be formed in the phase 2 reaction, where there will be the glucuronide conjugation, which is pharmacologically active, and salvamine. The salvamine is the second molecule. The IUPAC name is 4-chloro-5-sulfonamyl anthranilic acid. So this will be formed under the phase 1 metabolism. So these are the structure. See, structure क्या है? Simple structure है, right? So this is the simple. What was the drug was all about? Amino. क्या था? Amino benzene sulfonamides, right? So basically what we have this benzene, we have this amine, and we have a sulfonamide group, right? So what it is doing, it is making a glucuronide conjugation. This is a glucuronide molecule, glucose type molecule, right? So this is forming a glucuronide conjugation in the phase 2 reaction, which is active, right? This furosemide glucuronide is active molecule. The second is this molecule is getting cleaved. This molecule is getting cleaved to form what? To form 4-amino benzene sulfonamides, right? So this is again an important precursor which is having the activity. So basically this is called the 4-chloro-5-sulfonamyl anthracic acid, right? So what is happening? It is just cleaving from this side. It is cleaving from this side, and this is resulting in this molecule. Carboxylic acid is intact, right? So this is the thing. Now the furosemide glucuronide is a major biotransformation active product of the furosemide, having an active diuretic effect. So this is the major product and this is the minor product, but both these products have the diuretic activity, and these type of question can be asked in the GPAT exam, right? So this is the simple thing. The second molecule you have is the bumetanide. Again, the same type of structure. See, the benzene is there, amine is there, and what we have sulfonamide. Okay, right? We have a sulfonamide, and here we have a benzoxy group. This is the benzoxy group, right? So basically, these compounds belong to the class of organic compound known as diphenyl ether. Ether कैसे आएगा? इसमें कोई बताएगा मुझे? Why we are calling these molecules as the diphenyl ether? Diphenyl ether is because ether का general formula क्या होता है? ROR, right? R can be any carbocyclic or the aliphatic or the aromatic ring. Now, if you look at these two rings are flanked by a oxygen. So it is coming like ROR, right? So it's a type of ether. So what we have the two benzene ring or the two phenyl rings. So these organic compounds belong to the category of the diphenyl ethers, right? If you look at the category of these compound, these are the ether type of molecule. Or you can also call them, if you are not looking to this substituent, you can call them as the amino benzene sulfonamides, right? So this is up to you how you are going to classify the molecule. But जो भी तुम classify कर रहे हो वहां पे वो ring present होनी चाहिए, right? This is the important thing. So again, you know the thing how it is, how they are working. They are actually interfering on inhibiting the sodium potassium ATPase pump, and how they are blocking that thing. They are blocking that pump by affecting or interfering with the co-transport of the chlorides, right? So this is the way, right? Now the third molecule is ethacrynic acid, right? So ethacrynic acid is again used as a diuretic to treat the edema in the congestive heart failure. So basically this is again a very simple molecule, right? This is a very simple molecule and it belongs to the category of chlorophenoxyacetates. See now the name, chlorophenoxyacetates. कैसे आएगा नाम, कोई बताएगा? What are the acetates? What we call the acetate in the organic chemistry? Anyone? What could be the acetate? Acetate किसको बोलते हैं? किस ग्रुप को बोलते हैं acetate? This one or this one? Which is the acetate? Which one is the acetate?
Derivative of carboxylic acid.
Carboxylic acid, very good. So basically the acetates are the derivative of carboxylic acid and generally they are called as esters, right? They are generally called the esters. For example, the ethyl acetate. Ethyl acetate is also an ester, right? So this is the moiety. See, this is the ester moiety and derivative of carboxylic acid. If you look at the side, so it is COOH also, right? So basically this is the carboxylic acid derivative, right? So simple molecule, chlorophenoxy, chloro, right? Chloro and phenyl ring, simple molecule again, right? So again, what it will do the same thing. it will affect the movement of chloride ions, and when it is affecting the movement of chloride ion, it will cumulatively block what? It will cumulatively block NKCC2 pump, right? That is the sodium potassium 2 chloride pump, right? So this is the simple mechanism. Now we were talking about the potassium. We were talking about the problem with the loop diuretic, that they allow the passage of, or they inhibit the reabsorption of potassium, right? So now if they are not promoting the reabsorption of potassium, what is happening? Along with the potassium, the magnesium and the calcium is also getting excreted out, right? That is the thing. Now the role of potassium, why we need to save the potassium? This is again a very important question, right? This is an important question you will be learning probably in your pharmacology, right? So potassium plays a role in every heartbeat, right? So what the diuretics can do, diuretics can also affect the blood potassium level, as you have seen the thing, loop diuretics, right? If you take a thiazide diuretic, your potassium level can drop too low, which can cause life threatening problem with your heartbeat, right? So thiazide problem में भी, thiazide diuretics में भी problem था, potassium lose हो रहा था, and the same problem was with the loop diuretics. So majority of the diuretics have this problem that they cannot prevent the loss of potassium, and when they are not able to prevent the loss of potassium, हो क्या रहा है? We are experiencing the condition of bradycardia or very low blood pressure, and very low blood pressure is also fatal for us, right? We all know this thing. So unrecognized hypokalemia. Hypo means lower amount of potassium, mia means blood, right? So low amount of potassium in the blood is a leading cause mortality among the cardiac patients. So suppose you can consider there is a cardiac patient who is having some irregular arrhythmias, right? And if he or she is taking some diuretics, and that diuretics are again excreting out the potassium, so what will happen? There will be the high vulnerability of the arrhythmias. There will be a hypotension or the very low blood pressure, and that could lead to what? That could lead to the cardiac arrest. So basically the low functioning of heart and the high functioning of heart both are responsible for the cardiac arrest, right? So this is the thing. So अब इनसे बचने के लिए हमारे पास क्या होना चाहिए? We should use some diuretics that are able to spare the potassium, or those are able to reabsorb the potassium back to the blood, right? तो हमें उसी टाइप के हमें क्या करने चाहिए? डायूरेटिक यूज करने चाहिए. So basically to do so, we have some potassium sparing diuretics, or they are also called the K sparing diuretics, where the K is the symbol for the chemical symbol for the potassium, right? So basically we have the potassium sparing diuretics, right? So what they are doing? So basically in your syllabus, we have 3 drugs, right? So in 3 drugs, basically one is the aldosterone receptor antagonist, which is the spironolactone, and 2 are the ENaC blocker, that is the epithelial sodium channel blocker. We also call this epithelial sodium channel as the ENaC. E means the epithelial, Na means the sodium. It is a chemical abbreviation for the sodium, right? And the C channel blocker, right? So we have the 2 categories of drug under this, under the potassium sparing diuretics. So one are the aldosterone receptor antagonist, and the second are the epithelial channel blocker, epithelial sodium channel blockers, right? ENaC, right? So in the last class, I guess we have discussed about the aldosterone, right? So what that aldosterone was doing? Aldosterone was releasing from where? Aldosterone was releasing from the renal cortex. Renal cortex are the organs that are just present above the kidney, and they are releasing the aldosterone. So aldosterone का काम क्या था? Aldosterone was allowing the reabsorption of sodium back to the blood or to the lumen, right? अगर अब सोडियम का रीएब्जॉर्प्शन होगा तो क्या होगा? डायूरेसिस नहीं हो पाएगा, द फ्रीक्वेंट यूरिन नहीं हो पाएगी, तो क्या होगा? द कंडीशंस लाइक द हाइपरटेंशन और द एडिमा विल व्हाट हैपन? दे विल बी प्रिवेलिंग, right? They will be prevailing, right? The second thing is this sodium pump, ENaC, right? Sodium pump. So what we need to block the sodium pump, as well as we need to block the aldosterone receptor, so the sodium cannot get reabsorbed into the body, right? So what we are playing with, we are just playing with the sodium. We are not wanting that the sodium get back reabsorbed, right? सो अगर हम केवल सोडियम को सेलेक्टिवली रीअब्सॉर्ब कर पाएंगे तो क्या होगा, नहीं सॉरी, ब्लॉक कर पाएंगे उसका रीअब्सॉर्प्शन, तो क्या होगा, द पोटेशियम विल गेट रीअब्सॉर्ब्ड। एंड जो प्रॉब्लम डायूरेटिक्स, अदर डायूरेटिक्स के साथ आ रही थी, फॉर एग्जांपल द थायजाइड डायूरेटिक्स और द लूप डायूरेटिक्स थे, वो जो प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी, दैट विल नॉट कम, राइट? सो हाउ दिस थिंग हैपेंस, आई विल बी टेलिंग यू, राइट? सो बेसिकली वी हैव टू थिंग्स, right? So basically we have the aldosterone first. So I'm talking about the two things. There are two drugs. One are the aldosterone receptor antagonist and the second are the ENaC blockers. ENaC blocker means the sodium pump, right? So first thing we'll be going to the aldosterone. So what the aldosterone is doing, it is doing two important things, right? It is doing two important things. See, this is the urine, this is the tubule, and this is the blood. So what these are doing, these are increasing the expression of these channels. ENaC expression is increased when this aldosterone is released. So basically aldosterone receptors are there, right? So aldosterone receptor will be, so this aldosterone will be acting on the aldosterone receptor. अब यहाँ पे क्या है, aldosterone receptor है, aldosterone is coming and it is doing two things. One, it is increasing the expression of the ENaC, that is the sodium pumps, right? अब अगर सोडियम पंप का एक्सप्रेशन होगा तो क्या होगा, सबसे पहले क्या होगा, जो हमारे यूरिन में सोडियम है that will go back to the blood via this lumen, right? अगर अब सोडियम हमारा बैक जाएगा ब्लड में या ल्यूमेन में जाएगा तो क्या होगा, फ्रीक्वेंट यूरिनेशन नहीं होगी, मींस द कंडीशन ऑफ द एडिमा जो है वो रहेंगी, जो हाइपरटेंसिव की कंडीशन है वो रहेंगी। सो सबसे पहले एल्डोस्टेरोन क्या कर रहा है, ये इनैक को ओवर एक्सप्रेस कर रहा है, राइट? इट इज इंक्रीजिंग द ओवर एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ दिस सोडियम पंप। सेकंड, व्हाट इट इज डूइंग, it is increasing the sodium reabsorption back to the blood. So whatever the sodium, if these, अगर ये ज्यादा ओवर एक्सप्रेस करेगा तो क्या होगा, ल्यूमेन में और ज्यादा सोडियम आएगा। तो सेकंड थिंग वो क्या कर रहा है, जो एटीपेज पंप है, एटीपेज पंप ऑफ द सोडियम एंड पोटेशियम, सो दैट दिस इज एन एंटीपोटर, राइट? वन इज कमिंग आउट एंड वन इज कमिंग इन टू द यूरिन, राइट? सो अब क्या हो रहा है, एल्डोस्टेरोन क्या कर रहा है, सोडियम का रीएब्जॉर्प्शन इस पंप से भी बढ़ा रहा है, राइट? अगर अब इस एटीपेज पंप में भी सोडियम का रीअब्जॉर्प्शन बढ़ेगा तो क्या होगा, द पोटेशियम विल गेट लॉस टू द यूरिन एंड वी डू नॉट वांट दिस, राइट? एंड इफ वी डू नॉट वांट दिस, व्हाट वी कैन डू, वी कैन ब्लॉक दिस एल्डोस्टेरोन रिसेप्टर, राइट? अगर हम ये एल्डोस्टेरोन रिसेप्टर ब्लॉक कर देंगे तो क्या हमारे पास होंगी चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट, टू थिंग्स विल हैपन। वन, this ENaC expression, means this expression of these pump will get decreased. So sodium will not be coming with this high frequency inside the lumen and will going back to the blood for reabsorption. सबसे पहली चीज ये नहीं होगी। सेकंड चीज क्या होगा, this pump will get blocked. और अगर ये पंप ब्लॉक होगा तो क्या होगा, जो पोटेशियम होगा that will remain in the blood and this sodium will not get reabsorbed back to the blood, राइट? सो क्या होगा, उससे हाई कंसेंट्रेशन सोडियम की कहाँ होगी, हमारी यूरिन में, राइट? सो दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। सो नाउ द सेकंड थिंग, ENaC ब्लॉकर। हमने दो बात करी, हमने कहा कि हमारे पास एल्डोस्टेरोन रिसेप्टर एंटागोनिस्ट होते हैं, दूसरे व्हाट वी हैव द ENaC ब्लॉकर। सो अगर मैं इस पंप को ब्लॉक कर दूंगा, फॉर एग्जांपल इफ आई एम ब्लॉकिंग दिस ENaC पंप, व्हाट विल हैपन, दिस सोडियम will not be able to enter the lumen and will not be reabsorbed into the blood, right? Because अगर सोडियम अंदर आएगा ही नहीं तो this ATPase pump won't work, right? Leading to what? Leading to the high concentration of sodium in the urine, right? So this is the foremost important thing. And these potassium sparing diuretics forms one of the important class of diuretics. And the many questions have been asked in the past in the GPAT exams also from this unit, from this part only, the potassium sparing diuretic, right? So I think this is clear to you. आया समझ में क्या हो रहा है?
Yes sir.
Right?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
ठीक है, so these two things are there. So what we have the spironolactone. Spironolactone will be acting in this aldosterone receptor, right? It will be blocking the binding of this aldosterone to this receptor. The second thing, this amiloride and the triametrine will be blocking this ENaC pump, right? So these are the two things, right? So now What these are used? These are used to increase the amount of fluid passed from the body in the urine, whilst also preventing too much potassium being lost with it. So what they are doing two important things. What they are doing, they are inhibiting the reabsorption of sodium. अब सोडियम का रीअब्सॉर्प्शन नहीं हो रहा है तो क्या हो रहा है, सोडियम विल गेट एक्सक्रीटेड आउट, एंड व्हेन द सोडियम विल गेट एक्सक्रीटेड आउट इट विल टेक अवे द वाटर आल्सो. So basically there will be a large amount of pee, right? So basically urination will be there, right? But at the same time what it is doing, it is also inhibiting the loss of the potassium, which is very important for us, right? For the maintaining that heartbeat, or for the normal heartbeat, we require this potassium, right? So this is again inhibiting, and when this is happening, this chloride will also be not able to go back to the blood. So what we'll have a urine with a large amount of water and the electrolytes, which constitute mainly by the sodium and the chloride. The sodium will be in the larger amount, right? So this is the thing. Right, so sodium is reabsorbed in the collecting tubules of the renal nephron. This occurs via the epithelial sodium channels or the enact located on the luminal surface of the tubule. So this is very simple thing. So basically हो क्या रहा था उससे पहले, the potassium positively charged sodium entering the cells during reabsorption lead to an electronegative luminal environment, causing the secretion of potassium into the lumen urine in exchange. So what was happening earlier, if no aldosterone receptor are there, तो हो क्या रहा था, so basically the sodium जो यहाँ से अंदर आ रहा था, तो क्या हो रहा था, sodium was coming into the lumen and it was getting exchanged with the potassium, right? So potassium was coming from where? Potassium was coming from the blood, and this potassium was then going to the urine. So there was the potassium loss, right? So now when we are using this aldosterone receptor antagonist or the ENaC antagonist or ENaC blocker, sorry, what was happening? This sodium is not able to come inside, right? And it is not able to get itself exchanged with the potassium. So what we are getting a urine with high concentration of the sodium, right? So this is the important thing. Right, so this is the thing. Aldosterone I have already discussed. So aldosterone is the hormone, right? It is coming from where? It is coming from the adrenal glands, right? We have discussed this thing earlier also, which sits above the kidney. So they are just placed above the kidney, right? So what they are doing, they are actually playing the central role in regulating the blood pressure. So how they are doing it? They are actually allowing the reabsorption of sodium into the bloodstream, and when there will be high sodium in the bloodstream, what will happen? The conditions of high blood pressure will occur, or the hypertension will occur, right? And the second thing what these are doing, these are increasing the amount of potassium excreted in the urine, right? So this is the thing, right? So it also increases the expression of apical epithelial ENaC channel to reabsorb the urinary sodium. So basically aldosterone is doing two things. It is increasing the expression of ENaC channels, and secondly what it is doing, it is exchanging the sodium, or it is reabsorbing the sodium with the potassium, right? So there is an exchange of sodium and the potassium. So sodium ions are absorbed with the potassium. So potassium are expelled out and sodium are reabsorbed, right? So this was the thing, and when we are blocking this thing, so we can overcome with these two things, right? So now this is again, we have the two categories of the drug, right? So these diuretics are why they are important, because they are preventing the excessive excretion of potassium in the urine and decreasing the retention of water and preventing the hypokalemia, right? So this is the thing. Now क्या कोई मुझे बता सकता है इसका भी कोई साइड इफेक्ट हो सकता है या नहीं इन ड्रग्स का? Anyone? Earlier we were talking about the hypokalemia, जो other diuretics है जैसे thiazide diuretics थे, और what we talked about the loop diuretics. They were doing what? They were decreasing the potassium concentration also. So वो क्या कर रहे थे? They were causing the bradycardia, right? Because they are interfering with the heart pumping, right? So now we have a lot of this potassium is in the blood. So what will happen? Hyperkalemia. क्या होगा उस कंडीशन में? टैकीकार्डिया, सिंपल. अगर किसी को कोई हार्ट की प्रॉब्लम है तो देयर विल बी द कंडीशंस ऑफ द टैकीकार्डिया. So again these drugs are given in the appropriate regimen, Basically, for example, we have to diagnose the condition first and then we have to prescribe the drug, right? So this is the important thing, right? So first drug is the spironolactone, right? This is very important drug, right? Considering your GPAT, so many questions come from the spironolactone. So spironolactone are doing what? Spironolactone competitively inhibiting the aldosterone dependent sodium potassium exchange channel. So this is the common thing which we have learned, right? Now this is the structure of drug. So when I look into the medicinal chemistry of this drug, this is basically a steroidal moiety, right? Steroidal moiety with a lactone ring, right? It is having what? Lactone ring, right? So these compounds belong to the class of organic compound known as spironolactone and derivative. So these are the steroidal lactones, right? These are the steroidal lactone, steroid type of molecule. So basically what is happening, these are the steroid lactone with a structure based on the spironolactone skeleton. So this skeleton is called the spironolactone skeleton, right? So this drug is again not active. This spironolactone as such is not active, right? What we have, right? So basically this drug is not that much active, but this drug spironolactone get converted to the canrenone. This is the structure of canrenone. देखो कुछ भी change नहीं हुआ है. What happens? Only this group has left and we have left with a double bond, right? So this is the canrenone, right? Known, this one, ठीक है? So this is the alkene and the keto group are together, right? So enone, right? So basically name याद करने का तरीका बता रहा हूँ, enone है, right? So this is the thing, and this is an important molecule which is active. This is an active species of spironolactone. बहुत बार GPAT पे क्वेश्चन आया है कि what is the active species of spironolactone, which is aldosterone inhibitor, aldosterone receptor inhibitor. So basically it's a canrenone, right? So this is the drug. इसको याद रखना हमेशा, right? This is the important thing. So although it gives n number of metabolites, but for your exam and for your remembrance, only this thing is important, right? This spironolactone is converted to the 7-alpha thiospironolactone. Thio means this, from this group, it will be converted to the SH, right? This will be converted to the SH. This is an S-acetyl, right? So this is converting to the SH, right? And then this molecule is getting converted to the canrenone. So this is an active species of the molecule, right? Only this thing is important here, right? Now we have two other molecules that are the ENaC blockers, right? So again, the molecules are very simple, right? So basically this is the first molecule, amiloride. So this is the structure of the amiloride. So again, if you look at the name, these are the aminopyrazine. So this is the pyrazine ring. And why we are calling it the amino? We have the amino groups here, right? So this is the molecule aminopyrazine. और अगर किसी को pyrazine क्यों नाम आया ये समझ में नहीं आया, so they can just go back to the Hans-Wilman nomenclature and just study about the 2 nitrogen with 6 membered ring, right? They will be getting the name. हमने Hans-Wilman में किया है ये चीज, right? So this is the how the name is coming, right? So now what they are doing, they are binding to the ENaC channel. ENaC channels are what? ENaC channels are the epithelial sodium channels and are blocking the channel. And once the channel will be blocked, what will happen? The sodium will not be able to go inside the lumen or will get able to get reabsorbed into the blood, right? Simple thing, simple mechanism, right? So then what will happen? This promotes the loss of sodium. So sodium will stay back to the urine, right? Along with the water from the body without depleting the potassium levels, right? So this is an again easy mechanism, right? The second drug we have the triamterene, right? So see the structure. Now again this is the fused ring where we have the 2 nitrogens here and the 2 nitrogens here. So basically this is called the petridine. These derivatives come from the petridine, right? So now these compounds belong to the class of organic compound known as petridine derivative. These are the petridine derivative. Again, if there is doubt with the nomenclature, again just go back to the Hans-Wilman nomenclature. So the Hans-Billman nomenclature is very important when we are dealing with the drugs, because more than 80% of the drugs belong to the heterocyclic category, right? So again, this is an example of the potassium sparing diuretics, which is used in the treatment of the edema or in the management of the hypertension, right? So now triametrine do what? Triametrine inhibits the epithelial sodium channel, right, which are located on the luminal side. So basically, again, these ENaC are the sodium channel, so they will be blocking the sodium channel, due to which the sodium will not be able to reabsorb back to the blood. Simple mechanism, right? So I should complete this also today. This is the last drug, or I'll be teaching this thing in the next class. No problem. I'll be going with the osmotic diuretic because that will be a new class, right? So I'll be teaching you that osmotic diuretics in the next class, right? So in the meantime, what I can do, I can take some questions from you. So any questions or queries or doubts? Anyone? समझ में आया? सबसे important था potassium sparing diuretics. Yes, Gagan.
सर समझ में आया.
Okay. कोई ऐसा जिसको समझ में नहीं आया? Because this is the important part, not only for the exam but also for the GPAT. पोटेशियम स्पेयरिंग डायूरेटिक्स, उसको अच्छे से पढ़ना. डायूरेटिक्स में इसमें बहुत क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, राइट? इसको एक बार अच्छे से पढ़ना. इफ देयर विल बी सम डाउट्स और क्वेरीज, राइट, आई विल बी एड्रेसिंग देम इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. So what I'll be doing in the next class, I'll be teaching you that osmotic diuretics, and after completing the osmotic diuretics, you can just give me your questions, or if there are some doubts, we can have a revision of this part B of unit 2, right? Then I'll be starting with the part C of the unit 2, because we have very large units, right, in the medicinal chemistry. So I'll try to make that last unit also very easy, because there are n number of drugs and I'll be classifying them. So no worries, that will be very simple, right? So any doubts or anything? Koi queries, koi kuch, anything? Anyone with doubts? कोई डाउट नहीं है? Okay, if there is no doubt, I am just closing this class, right? Thank you very much for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.